One of my biggest fears is losing my autonomy. As someone who lives with a disability, it's always in the back of my mind. But what terrifies me even more is someone taking my autonomy from me. In 2014, Kevin Smith released Tusk, a film known for being particularly disturbing. In it, we see Justin Long drugged and surgically turned into a walrus. And while that might sound like an insane premise, the idea behind it is supremely fucked up. We're diving into the story of Mermaid, a game using similar themes where a young woman is forced to become something some people only dream about, but in a horrific and malformed way, not of her choosing. You can dodge the story and step straight into my spoiler-free thoughts by skipping to this chapter here. To get it out of the way, if you enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss another one. And you can catch me playing games like this live over on Twitch using the links down in the description below. Coming to the bottom of a murky pool, we're confused and dazed, just like our protagonist, uncertain of what we're seeing or where we are, but the signs of distress are clear. Blood stains the girl's face, and as her hand rises to wipe away some of the foggy mind, signs of a cannula can be seen, a medical device used for delivering fluids into a patient. It isn't until the camera slowly begins to pan out that we begin to realize, in time with our protagonist, the extent of the situation before us. Her breasts and ribcage deformed and hacked into, replaced with scales and gills, slowly leading down to a patchwork of surgery, forming a fishtail where her legs once were. Suddenly, it dawns on us we're lying deep underwater, and we're not alone. They observe and gesture at us, the clipboard and bloody apron on show, meaning it's not a leap in logic to assume this is our creator. They bang at the window, demanding our attention before making some notes. As to not anger our captor, we begin swimming about the tank, getting accustomed to our new appendage. It's hard not to notice the crimson mist we leave in our wake as fresh incisions bleed into the water. The doctor's attention is soon pulled away, however, as their latest experiment begins to stir behind them. The limbless form begins to struggle, perhaps realizing the desperate situation they've found themselves in or reeling from the pain. Either way, the doctor is quick to end its struggling with the jab of a needle into its chest. The muffled grunting falls quiet as the stub of a human is wheeled away and we're left to our own devices. As we begin to explore again, I notice the controls are awkward and ungainly. Unlike a lot of games I've played, it's as if I'm struggling to control the character's body. It's an incredible metaphor for what this poor woman is likely going through. Eventually, I notice a walkway above me, and I'm able to clamber onto it, the woman now painfully dragging her body along, leaving a trail of blood behind her as we reach the exit to our tank. I can't help but see the green light above it as a small sign of hope. Dragging ourselves into the room, I realize this is the other side of the observation window. Two more large tanks fill the room, connected by another walkway. Hauling ourselves back into the water, we're able to quickly navigate the room before coming to a large tanker door lit by another hopeful light. I assume the switch must be the lever we saw earlier beside the doctor's desk. Propelling ourselves out of the water, we crawl across the stark, broken floor to a nearby notice board. A map of Australia and several clippings of missing sailors can be seen. This only raises more questions than answers, however. Is the doctor trying to replicate mermaids based on some morbid fascination? Did they witness the abduction of a sailor and are now smitten with the idea of myths and legends? None of this is particularly important to our protagonist. It's too late to understand the why. We simply need to escape. Flipping the switch, we drop back into the pool and continue, coming to a storage room which seems to be a waiting room with two large tanks. After a moment of exploring, it begins to dawn on me. We're not in some secret lab or hidden government facility. This is an aquarium, or at least it was. The discarded boxes and dusty, dirty tanks show this place hasn't been operational for some time. There's nothing else here for us apart from the small bits of information we can glean from our surroundings, but once more we see that green light leading us out, ominously nestled between the two large tanks. We begin to crawl. Painfully, hand after hand, dragging the heavy weight of that malformed tail stapled and stitched onto her body, the woman continues. The inhabitants within the filthy tanks soon reveal themselves as they begin to throw their bodies into the side of the tanks. Dull, muffled thuds sound out with each impact. Are these poor creatures the unwilling counterparts we find sewn to our flesh? Judging by the rows of sharp, jagged teeth on show, perhaps they're starving and the scent of iron from our weeping wounds is driving them into a frenzy. Either way, the thudding soon begins to reach its fever pitch, echoing out even as we pass beyond the doors into more storage. I reluctantly try the other doors to no avail before finding ourselves in another large tank. Dropping into the stagnant waters, I catch a brief glimpse of something moving beneath the surface. Chained to the bottom of the pool, stuck between the reeds, it looks to be the experiment from earlier. It doesn't seem to notice me at first, but as I swim closer, it bursts into a frenzy, flailing wildly at me. Even in our current state, I can't help but feel sorry for them in comparison. I'm just glad they're restrained. Unfortunately, that glad feeling was short-lived. Swimming through the faux rock formation, I came upon more of them. So many more. Just how many people had been massacred like this? All those wide, glowing eyes staring lifelessly into the water. I couldn't be sure they were all alive, and I'd rather not find out. Carefully, I picked a route before moving as fast as I could. Surging out of the water in a blind panic, I found myself in a new area. Obviously, the situation was already unpleasant and distressing, but watching the poor, broken girl pull herself along was simply heartbreaking. Another oily tank contained yet more of the macabre versions of sea life chained once again to the floor, all but one who busied itself with picking meat from the bones it had found. My path continued past him once I'd opened the gate. He surged towards me as I went to slip past, before I threw myself out of the water and onto safety. Continuing to follow the green light through narrow halls and rusted doors, I arrived at what appeared to be the operating theatre. Huge lights hung from the ceiling, illuminating something I struggled to make out. Another rotting creature, perhaps? Or were they discarded remains? Was this where the woman in our story had forever been changed? If this was the doctor's quarters, it was likely they'd be back soon, so I quickly made my way to the door, only for the screen to cut to black. This was the end of the small prototype we currently get to play. Much like the main character, it was a broken, stitched together thing. The controls were something I got used to over time, but it never felt less uncomfortable, and hearing the grunts and groans as the poor woman pulled herself along the cold, tiled floors, leaving a trail of blood, was just horrific. If I was to give my suggestions, I'd love to see a breath meter when you are out of the water, so that painstaking dragging along that you have to do is perhaps a little bit more tense and frantic. I also hope they go down the route of telling the lore via showing rather than telling. I like having to glimpse little bits of information from the environment rather than having to collect 50,000 notes just to get a basic idea of what Larry the Doctor had for lunch. Mermaid is currently a demo being made by a small indie dev team and is available for free over on itch.io. I've put a link down in the description below if you want to play it yourself, as well as the Steam wishlist. Be warned though, it's simple and rough for now, so set your expectations accordingly. What do you think of Mermaid? Will you be giving it a go, or will you be waiting for full release? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, leave fish so I know you made it to the end. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe. I hope you're enjoying the new horror videos as much as I am making them. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and if I'm lucky, I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra.